All right. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Let's get this all situated, set up. How's everybody doing today? This is gonna be interesting. Yeah, I'm wearing my Panthers hoodie. I lost there's supposed to be a string here that helps tie it up. It fell out one day at the river or at the beach somewhere. I lost it. But we've got the remnants of Hurricane Ian. We've got the remnants of the hurricane here, and it's 55 degrees and windy. Fall is coming in like a son of a bitch. Hey, Alex, how you doing, Mr. Puck Monkey? Good to see you. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how many people we get. For those of you who are just clicking on, this live stream is an exclusive for the Patreon and YouTube members. So it may not be, as many people as we normally get, but I wanted to show those guys a little bit of love. You're excited for the overreaction to the loss today. Look, you can't even do that, bro. I just saw the lineup. I just saw the lineup. Are you ready for this? This is the lineup we got today in no particular order. Dianasenko, Riley Nash, Heppo Niemi, Zach Dalpe, Lusterinen, Patrick Giles, Rudolph Balsers, Ethan Keppen, Chris Tierney, Anton Lefchi, and Ryan Lomberg. Our defense is Boteto, Kiersted, Dilzado, Dennis Cesana, John Ludwig, Nathan Steos, and Kanunen. And the goaltenders are Guzda and Spencer Knight. So not a lot to see there. not a lot to see there if you're trying to figure out what this team is going to look like on the ice this season. This team would win if we didn't have Maurice, says coach. Well, let's give him some time. He has been vocal about he's only looking at individual performances, and he's not been really viewing things as a team. Yeah, Alex, as long as there's no Mark Stahl. The problem with Mark Stahl is going to make this team. Mark Stahl is going to make this team. Eric Stahl is a little bit of a different situation. But we just reduced the roster to 43. And one of the kids that we sent down was that defenseman, Shaleen, who he had actually been on the NHL roster. He was one of the only kids that was on the NHL roster. So right now, as we speak, we have we have a roster of 13 forwards and 6 defensemen. We have no extra defensemen, and the 13th forward is Anthony Duclair, who's going to go on LTIR. So we have enough. Right, exactly, Alex. What Alex said is I don't think Horny's going to make it. If you're going to sign Eric Stahl, Kiersted, if you're going to have any depth, literally anybody, if you're going to sign a Pet Rock to be 7D or your 13th forward, somebody has to go, because after we put Duclair on LTIR, we have $480,000 in cap space. And I was going to look it up, so let me look it up now. I'm pretty sure the NHL minimum salary is like $750, right? Let me look this up. I must have looked it up before. Okay, so the minimum salary is $650,000. That's the minimum salary. So we don't have enough money. We've got like 470 something thousand left. So we're literally short like a couple $100,000. So yeah, Alex, I agree with you. I don't see any way around this. My other concern has been Lucas Carlson. Now, I saw something this morning that gives me a little bit of pause there. I was concerned why Lucas Carlson wasn't playing, but then yesterday his wife had a baby. He had a baby boy. So congratulations to him. So it's possible, hopefully, cross our fingers, that's why he has not been playing in the games. And yes, Alex, the Bob trade speculations are at an all-time high. He has not played well, which could give credence to those expectations. You see what I'm saying? Um, if Bob is a very cerebral guy. So if he knows that he's being shopped, it may already be affecting his play. Hey Dana, how you doing? Good to see you. Good. Panthers Twitter was kind of funny. The overreaction on how much they miss Uyghur. Yeah, the defense has not been good, but I don't think we've played I don't even think we've played what our top six would be. Either Lucas Carlson, there's one of two things going on with Lucas Carlson. I know he had the baby boy, but either coach has said, don't worry, your spot is safe, take care of your family, or he's being held out as the teaser to get somebody to take Hornquist's money. One of those two things has got to be what we're looking at. And I woke up very concerned that it was going to be he's just being held out. But then when I saw his wife had the baby, I thought, okay, maybe that's why he hasn't been playing. So that's he's not playing today either. But she just gave birth. So what coach said was that on Tuesday we're going to see close to what the starting lineup is going to be. Now I want to look at this again. Today's, hey, come on, give me, okay. Boteto, Kierstead, Delzato, Cesana, Ludwig, Steos, and Kanunen. I think of those guys, the only players that really have a chance of making this team are Kierstead and Delzato. If the way the roster is laid out right now, to sign either one of those guys to just the minimum contract, we'd have to move Hornquist or Luosterainen. Obviously, there's a couple other. There's not a lot of players. I have cap friendly up. There's not a lot of players that we could move that give us that space that we would need for two or three guys. Obviously Hornquist, but then after that, the only guys making enough money. And this is not me speculating that they're going to get moved. This is me just laying the numbers out. After Hornquist, the only guys making enough money that would clear us enough space for two players are Sam Bennett, Carter Verhaeghe, Eetu Luosterainen, and that's it. That's it, because Colin White's making 1.2, Nick Cousins making 1.1. We just got them. We're not going to throw them anywhere. And in terms of the defense, we have six. We have six defensemen signed. Ekblad, Forsling, Montour, Gudis, Lucas Carlson, and Mark Stahl. And Carlson's making $800,000. So even getting rid of him, that doesn't buy us anything other than space to replace him. So the longer this goes on, the more I get concerned that Patrick Hornquist isn't going to make the team. Hey, Mike, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Yeah, Puck, Alex, you're saying Kanunen looked good, and I've heard a couple of people saying that Kanunen looked good. And I'm more confident now, Alex, about Luosterainen not getting moved. I was a little bit concerned that first game when he had Eric Stahl in, and it looked like he was trying to give Eric Stahl. It still looks like he's trying to give Eric Stahl 4C, but I think he sees enough talent in Luosterainen where he may end up at that second wing on the left, where I was kind of hoping he would end up in the beginning of the season. But Alex, you bring up a good point about Bobrovsky, because now the game I saw, he had let in a bad angle goal and a dribbler. And then I didn't see the goals he gave up the other night because the stream was down, but a few people that were there said he was the same thing, bad goals, bad angle goals. If there's any truth to the rumor that he's being shopped, Zito would have had to have gone to him before shopping him because he has the no move clause. So if he already knows that he might be getting moved, that could explain why he hasn't played well. Now, that's all speculation. I hope I'm making it up in my head, and I hope game one he's there and he's playing well. Don't get me wrong. But there's only a few guys that can give us the room. And a couple of people said to me over summer when I was bringing up the cap, they said other teams have gone into the season with just 12 and 6, with just 12 forwards and 6 defensemen. And then if somebody gets hurt, you move them down to the minors and you move a guy up. Technically, really technically, we could do that. Okay. Right. So if you're, because I know Kiersted's already on a 2-way deal. So if you're going to make him 7D, you could move him up and down. I believe Kiersted's deal this year is 2-way, but next year it's a 1-way deal. So that might be how they're going to do it. That might be how they're going to do it defensively. Because if you made Kiersted 7D, you could move him freely up and down if somebody gets hurt. And you would just have nobody, we just have to cross your fingers that like nobody got hurt in warm-ups or anything like that. But a couple of people did tell me that a few teams have done that, right? So that's possible. And then in terms of the forwards, we've got 12. So if you wanted to make Eric Stahl 13, would he sign a 2-way deal? Would he do that? Would he say, okay, I'm going to play in the minors until I'm needed if somebody gets hurt? So that could kind of screw you on game day if somebody tweaks something in warmups, right? And it could be difficult on the players having to come and go. They could do that. They could do that and keep Hornquist. That's not an impossible scenario. It just seems awfully risky. It just seems awfully risky that Zito would try that. So, but I don't know. If it's that or Hornquist, what do you guys think? Right? I mean, we're really in a pickle here, and that would shock everybody, Alex. If they actually move Bobrovsky, and that's another thing, you guys. If you've watched the video I made the other day with the Spencer Knight contract, 4.5. I mean, that's basically starter money. You can. I mean, what Seattle was. I mean, Seattle wasn't paying either one of their guys 4.5. I don't think. I know Drieger was 3.3. I think they might have been paying their second guy 5. I forget who it was. Was it Grubauer? But they gave Knight starter money, and Grubauer is 5.9. Okay, yeah. So right. But I mean, when you look at the experience, Alex, I mean, the number of games that they've played, Grubauer may not have the potential that Spencer Knight has, but he's more of a proven commodity. But the point is you can get a guy for about that price. And my instant reaction to that was they're going to move Bob next year. I would be so obliteratingly shocked if we pay 14.5 for 2 goaltenders. Now, it did come out later after the deal was signed that the reason why the Panthers gave him the 4.5 was that they were concerned that somebody was going to give him an offer sheet. And that's what I said in my reaction video, that somebody was going to pay him. And I've been saying that all year with Stu, is that Spencer, I just felt like, and I don't know any of the insides, you guys know that, but my take was that he's a smart kid. He knows what he's worth, and he knows that Bobrovsky's play and being the starter is costing Spencer Knight money. And I did not foresee him taking it easy on the Panthers. I kind of thought he would be exactly what he was basically, look, Bob's not my problem. Pay me or I'll go somewhere else, because it's all nice and fluffy and he's happy to sign the contract. But we didn't give him 4.5 unless we really thought he would go somewhere else. Bobrovsky's not his problem, and Zito didn't set this up either. This was talent. In one fell swoop, he created this situation. And I just kind of figured that Spencer Knight was not going to, be softy about it. Mike, what you got? Let me see. So Mike says, from what you know, 2-way deals are only available for young or fairly old players, and they still need to pass waivers each year. Yeah, there's only a few guys. honestly, buddy, I don't know exactly how that works because what would be the point of the two-way contract if you couldn't move them freely back and forth? Now, Kierstead's a younger guy that doesn't have a lot of NHL experience. Let me see something. Let me see if they have something on cap for any, because I know there's like guys that are waiver exempt. Um, so like Spencer Knight is waivers exempt. Anton Lundell is waivers exempt because he's still on his entry level contract. Now Kiersted is not signed to the active roster. But I'm not sure how that works in terms of, and I'm sure somebody when they watch the replay, you say it only starts as a one-way till getting waived, then turns into a two-way contract. If he gets, I see what you're saying. Well, if that's correct, then we can't play that shell game. And I don't know it by heart, and I've heard so many different things from so many different people. And I haven't read. I've had one guy tell me, and I'm just passing this message on. You guys might find this interesting. I brought this up in the stream, but I had one guy who's pretty knowledgeable and has been right about a lot of things that he's told me. He says that he was told by the vice president of one of the teams, he was told that for somebody like Hornquist, he says that we can waive him, send him down to the minors if he's not claimed, and then when he comes back up, there would be $1 million taken off of his salary cap hit. I looked in the CBA. This guy swears up and down that's what he was told. And when he questioned this guy, he says, I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. I read as much of the CBA as I could before I went blind. I couldn't find anything on it. It's a million pages of legal mumbo jumbo. I've never heard that before. That would be crazy you would think that we would have seen that at some point in the NHL previous. I don't know if it has something to do with a guy's age or term left on the contract or something. That I don't know. But that's one thing that I've been told. The point is I've been told so many things by so many different people. That's why I say I don't know. Mike says, so if a player plays the whole season in the AHL, up to $1 million of the cap is returned. I see. So he got confused because what he told me is all the guy has to do is play he told me the guy only has to play one game in the AHL. So you're saying if he plays the whole season in the AHL, up to $1 million of cap, I mean, can you do that and bring him up for the playoffs? And would Patrick, I mean, he's got a modified no move clause. So you would think he'd have to be okay with that, right? That's interesting. It's weird the things that they put in there. All right, so if it's the whole season, yeah, maybe that's where he got confused. Because he was telling me we'd get $1 million in cap relief if he played just one game. And that seemed like somebody would have already done that before. Mike says it's a 100-game season. If they miss one NHL game, the NHL team would get 1% back of the $1 million. Okay. All right. That's interesting. So it's funny because we're only like a few hundred thousand. We're only like a few hundred thousand short. I don't know. I don't know how just put Kucherov in LTIR. Well, that's what, a couple people brought up a good point, but they're contrasting points. Tim said, just put Hornquist on LTIR. He could get hurt, which sounded logical. But then at the same time, what Frank brought up is true. Is like Hornquist wants to play. He's not going to go for that. So who knows? Let's see. Read your cap space comment earlier. All right, hold on a second. Let me see. Where are we? Which how far up, bud? How far up? Um, I know that you say you don't think Hornquist is going to make it. If Leonard was healthy, you wouldn't mind Bob for Leonard and Martinez. And you think Heponiemi has to go through waivers. Right. I think you're correct there. And then they could trade him for a D prospect. I believe. Okay, so it would be enough for. So if a player plays the whole season in the AHL, it'd be up to $1 million in cap return, enough for 2 entry levels. Right. Okay. I think I see what you're saying. To your point about Heponiemi and Denisenko, I think they're on there. I think they're being showcased because it's how many chances? Maybe not so much for Heponiemi, but for Denisenko has had a lot of opportunity down, in the AHL, and he can't stay healthy. And if he can't make the team now, all right, let's see what Mike's got. If a player is on a two-way contract and is in the AHL, that does not count, nor does any player on a one-way playing in the AHL that carries an average of 1.075 million or less. Right, that's why Kierstead's right now doesn't count. Right. Right, which is how they signed Kierstead and Delzato. They basically considering them minor leaguers in the AHL right now, right? But if as soon as they come up, as soon as we put them on the active roster, their cap hit's going to count, right? There's no way around that. Well, everybody would get a two-way, right? We're all sitting here trying to bang. We're all doing this trying to save Patrick Hornquist. And for all we know, he already knows what's going on. Only for the games they play in the NHL. So, okay, so all right, so let's just use an imaginary example, Mike. Okay, because this is how my brain works. So we've got our 6, right? We've got our 6 saying you only play 5 out of 82 games, you only hit for 582 of that player's cap space. So then they could technically do that with Kierstead, keep him in the AHL and only bring him up when we need it. Is that what you're saying? And then it would only count when we brought him up. You're saying let's say Lucas Carlson gets hurt and we bring up Kierstead. You're saying when we bring up Kierstead, his full cap, because he's on a two-way deal, you're saying that his full cap won't count against us, so it won't be like we're adding 800,000 immediately that day. Is that what you're saying? Right, and this is all for salary, not signing bonus. So there might be some kind of magical rainbow unicorn way Zito is going to pull this off without getting rid of anybody. Think of those players like a rented car. Okay. So then, yeah, we should be the new GMs for the Panthers. Well, don't worry. As soon as this stream is live, Bill Zito is going to be watching it for ideas, right? So, Mike, you can get that cap space back. I see. I believe I see what you're saying. Boy, that would be that would be stressful. That would be stressful. There'd be no doubt that we would end up playing games short, right? Where we only had 5D, because you couldn't have a 7th defenseman or What about, and you know what, Mike? The whole thing is really complicated because I'm going to throw a whole nother monkey wrench into you because then you got the taxi squad, right? Right. Every NHL game a player plays hits for 182nd of the cap, of their cap. You're talking about on a two-way, right? Right. Um, Now the taxi squad, I guess we could have the taxi squad is gone. Well, there goes that. Shit. Yeah, Mike, maybe we'll have to have you on. Maybe you and I will have to do a Zoom like Stu and I do. If nothing happens, if we don't make any moves in the next 4 or 5 days, um maybe you and I should get together and yeah. So just email me about that. Don't let me forget. Because I'm not the most knowledgeable person about that. Yeah, so we could get it together and that let's do that. Yeah. Alex, yeah, I know it was for COVID. It just um well, I guess if Brandon says the pandemic is over while they're still trying to get everybody to get their boosters, it's very confusing. I have to be honest with you. I don't know what the hell is going on. You see so many different things all over the place. He says it's over and get your vaccine at the same time. Okay. All right, dude. Whatever you say, man, right? Um I liked it. I liked it. I thought it was good for some of those kids to have that experience. I wonder how the players feel about it being gone. I thought it was cool, but I guess they'd probably rather be back in the AHL wherever they came from playing and everything. So, but today's game, um, let's just hope the stream is up. Let's start there. I was so disappointing the last game. So let's hope the stream works. Let's start there. And then we're basically going to see a bunch of kids, right? Because with today's game, the top line really is Luosterainen with Balsers and Lomberg, right? And when did Riley Nash? When did Riley Nash show up? What did I miss? When the hell did he show up? Or have I just been not paying attention close enough? Riley Nash signed with Charlotte. I see. Well, yeah, they have to. Everybody has to sign with Charlotte. There's no room to sign with us. They couldn't afford me right now. Okay, I couldn't put Fluffy on skates. They got to pay him $650. It's the law. So, Alex, Spencer can really prove himself tonight. The way they have it lined up is Guzda and Knight, but I don't know that means Guzda starting. You're probably going to have Spencer starting and then Guzda. I like Guzda. I think that's our future pairing right there is Knight and Guzda. He's big and his movement's very smooth, very controlled. He doesn't get out of position. Um, I think we're in good shape there, and maybe the Bob, maybe that's what I keep thinking about was when Zito had the press conference introducing Paul Maurice, and he gave this little speech. I believe this is the one. And the way he said it just made me think that he was concerned about more than just the normal attrition. What he said was, I wanted to get a veteran coach. I'm paraphrasing, but basically what he said was, I want to get a veteran coach because there's going to be some challenges and we're going to have some challenges. There will be challenges this year. And I know we all heard the rumors during the preseason or during the summer about them trying to move Bobrovsky. I don't imagine that they've been trying to move Bobrovsky without him knowing, because he'd have to waive his trade clause. So if he's known all summer, if it's true, if he's known all summer And if it's heating up again, he has to see the writing on the wall. Let's just play it. If Bob knows, if it was true that they tried to move him, and Bob knows that, and now they see Spencer, he sees Spencer gets 4.5, that could explain his poor play so far. And he may just know that he's, again, I don't have inside information, not predicting it. I really don't want it to happen this year. I'd prefer another year for Spencer Knight. But if you ask me, if we're going to move on from Bobrovsky, another part to that is, do we get to keep Patrick Hornquist for another year, right? And who knows? We may still be sitting here in 3 years talking about, is Bobrovsky going to play his last year? I don't know. All I know is 14.5 for two goaltenders is a ton of money. It's just a ton of money. And I know next year we get the Yandel hit is gone. Hornquist's 5.3 will be gone. And I'd like to see what we're going to do with Radko Gudas. I believe Max Gilden playing today? Ludwig is playing today. I'd like to see, some good play from either one of those guys, Ludwig especially, because they may be the Gudas. Gudas is on his last year, right? I mean, I would prefer to re-sign him, but beggars can't be choosers. We don't know what situation we're going to be in. And even if Zito does pull off some magical rainbow unicorn deal where he can get rid of Bobrovsky, you got to figure at the very least, we would eat 30%. And that would be, we'd have to give up a player, right? Like, it'd be like, all right, Deano Senko, Heponiemi, and Bob, and 30% retain. I mean, we'd have to give up assets to only have 30% retained. Otherwise, you're looking at probably 50%. I don't know, guys. I don't know how he's going to do it. But what I know, here's what I know. I don't know how he's going to do it, but we're going to win the cup this year. That's what I know. The crazy guys that plays with puppets says we're winning the cup this year. That's what I got. I know it sounds crazy. The way I'll put it is this. So far, I have never predicted that the Panthers were going to win the cup. And I've been right every season. I got 100% batting average, or I guess that's 1,000% if you're going by batting average. You know what I'm saying. I've never been wrong. Every year I predict they are not going to win the cup, and every year they don't win the cup. There it is, right? Alex is laughing. Hey, you gotta make something sound. You gotta make nothing sound like something, right? I haven't been wrong yet. Oh man, look, I am every day when I wake up. The first thought is, thank you for licking my face, Fluffy. I'm glad you're still up and moving around and waking me up, licking my face, because the day he doesn't wake up to lick my face is going to be rough. But the second thought I have is, please, hockey gods, I want a Calgary Flames, Florida Panthers Stanley Cup Finals, where we win in 6 games when Uyghur blows it with 3.8 seconds left. If that exact scenario can happen, if that exact scenario happens, I drop the mic and that's the last video I make. I couldn't top that. If I say that's what's going to happen all year long and that actually happens, I can't top that. I would just fundraise off of that one video for the rest of my life. I'd write a book and I'd retire, because there'd be nowhere to go but down for me at that point. Yeah, but the Flames fans we've won the trade because Schubert Uyghur scored a couple goals in the preseason. Meanwhile, you've got Paul Maurice saying, I'm not even watching these guys as a team just yet. I'm just looking at it as individual performances, and I like what I see. That's what he's saying. Yeah, Josh Stradamus. Once the season goes, I got to put. I made a shirt. I made a shirt. Um, I can't. I'm not complaining. Right? It's interesting the support I get. So, like for the size of the channel, the number of Patreon people, number of YouTube members, and the super chats that I get are way more than a channel my size should have. So I get like this spectacular, but that's where all the support goes. I can't sell a shirt to save my life. I keep putting out new designs and shirts and mugs. I ain't sold nothing, not one. But I can't. I'm just laughing about it because I'm like, well, because everybody's giving me super chat, so it doesn't. I think it's funny, right? It's like a challenge for me at this point. It's like, my designs must suck, is what it is. The Josh Stradamus shirt, I actually paid somebody like, I don't know, I think I paid him like $30 on Fiverr to design it. So I'll have to push that a little bit more. You guys know I don't push that stuff. But I just find that funny that I haven't sold anything like one, right? Well, I take that back. Dana, who I don't know if she's still here, Dana has bought stuff before. I'm not sure. I think the last thing she bought was a sticker or something. But I'm not complaining. Please, I'm absolutely not complaining. I think it's funny. I think it's funny. My designs must suck. But what do we got? I'm gonna go for about another 10 more minutes, guys. And I got to get Fluffy upstairs and get him fed his lunch because being that it's streamed, I'm gonna watch it upstairs and everything. Yeah, Alex, thoughts on the tour injury? Well, if you watched the video I made yesterday, um, I was on fire about it. But in terms of the football stuff, look, if people are gonna make an argument and their basis of their argument is, I don't believe you. I don't believe that you're telling me the truth. There's no sense in arguing with people. So if Tua says he didn't have a head injury and it was his back, and the doctors cleared him, and McDaniel has said, I take this stuff very seriously, and you saw it before the injury Thursday night, Tua was fine. If you can look at all that and just be like, yeah, I don't believe you, you're lying, there's no getting through to somebody like that because it doesn't matter what you say to them. They're just going to say, I don't believe you. Well, then just stop watching. If you're that disgusted by the product and you think people are that evil that they would that they would lie about the head injury to the point where Tua is saying I didn't have it. If you think it's that bad, if you think these people are that evil, then just stop watching. Turn it off. Cancel the direct TV. Sell your jerseys on eBay. Send them to me. Let me sell them to make the money on eBay. And turn it off. Go watch golf if you're worried about contact sports. Now, that said, is when that happened to Tua, look, I'm not saying I knew, but when we all saw how his spine elongated in a way that should not happen. And I saw instantly, I saw his hands do the thing, and I knew, that's neurological. I think anybody that saw that knew something was wrong. The rest of the night, I was just sick about it. We all were. It was like, okay, we lost the game. It's like normally we would be pissed off because it wasn't an interception that Bridgewater threw. The ball was dropped. And normally we would be on fire about this. Like, whatever, we're 3-1. We just hope Tua is okay. So, there's this narrative that if you're not outraged by it, you're somehow insensitive to it. No, we're just looking at the facts. And if you're not willing to believe the man himself, all the doctors and the coaches, if you're just going to say they're all lying, then screw you and stop watching, turn it off, go away. Because there's no getting through to you. There's no making you happy. You're not going to accept anything. You don't like that it's a contact sport. And I get that some of these players get the CTE. I'm not unaware of all of that. Nobody's unaware of that. It's an exchange. These guys know, look, I'm going to make tens, some of them hundreds of millions of dollars. I'm risking my health for that benefit. Okay, they know the risks. Now, do I think there's anything wrong with the precautions that need to be put in? No, it's fine. The precautions are put in, and you just don't like what comes of it, and you just call everybody liars. Well, screw you. Where's the line? Who are we trying to please here? We're trying to please people that are unpleasable with that whole thing. So, good question, Alex. I could go another 2.5 hours on that. As you can tell, it just pisses me off because, look, a lot of us have had neurological injuries. I'm not sitting here saying I'm a doctor, I know, but I'm going to tell you what. When I was a massage therapist, I had carpal tunnel. Now, all the carpal tunnel was the injury itself was just a little bit, of inflammation in here. But when it would hit the nerve, I lost 2 fishing rods. And that's when I finally went and got it fixed. I lost 2 fishing poles because I would be fishing. And when I got it hit, a couple of times the pain was so extreme that I just screamed and my whole arm went numb. And I just yelped out and I dropped the rod and it was gone. It happened to me twice. When you're dealing with nerves, what happened with Tua in Buffalo, where he went to jog off, that doesn't have to be caused by a head injury. Now, I know the thing where he grabbed his head and maybe he was a little bit woozy, but you can be woozy without getting a concussion. You see what I'm saying? And if all the doctors and all the protocols are put into place and they examine him and they're like, he's okay, and Tua saying it's my back, sometimes in life things happen. But there's a certain segment of the population that wants a safe world. Everything has to be safe. Everybody has to be safe at every freaking single second of every day. And if they see something that looks like it might have kind of thought of been maybe trying to think about maybe possibly being unsafe, they're outraged beyond all control. And they lose their mind to the point where the one doctor was on Twitter threatening to charge the Dolphins with murder if Tua died. And there were people backing him up like, yeah, thank you for the support. You go get him. Cocoa Puffs. Absolutely Cocoa Puffs. That said, I play with puppets and I scream about hockey. So what do I know? That said, guys, I think that's the good way to end the show. I think that's a good way to end this. I want to get Fluffy upstairs. Dude, it's 55 and windy and raining. And the dog is laying outside in it because summer was so hot this year. And we're getting the remnants of the hurricane. And it's pouring outside and it's windy. And I leave the door open so he can come and go. But it's pouring. And I go and I look for him in his spot because he lays on this cement part of the basement floor. And he's not there. Where the hell is he? And I go outside and he's laying on the grass in the pouring rain. And I said, what are you doing? And he rolled on his back to get belly rubs and his tail was moving back and forth. It's like, screw you, man. This might not be snow, but this is cold. This is close enough. He's loving it. And then like a half hour later, he came up to me behind me because the office, I have my stand-up computer there, and he shook on me. I didn't even know he was standing there. All of a sudden, I was soaked. The computer, everything was wet, so I had to dry him off. But yeah, Mike, you're not even that far from me, right? I mean, in terms of mileage, I mean, Florida is so long. Here where we live, I mean, I can be in Maryland. Well, I'm in Maryland, but I can be in Delaware, Pennsylvania, and Jersey basically within an hour, right? Where there's counties in Florida that you can't drive through in an hour. I mean, Dade County, you start at one end, it's what, 3 hours, give or take, until you get to Broward County. Here, that's states, So, all right, guys, I appreciate you guys coming out. Really, really do. For everybody who missed it, this is what I'm going to be doing once a month for the Patreon and YouTube supporters. And then I put it on the channel for everybody to see. But if you want to be live and interactive, that's for those people to give them a little bit of a thank you for supporting me that way. So, all right, guys, gonna have a normal recap and everything like that. Should be interesting to see. Hope this just cross our fingers for the stream, right? Mike saying he would have been in a local college football game, but not with the rain. Yeah, yeah. If it's still this weather, it's fun to play in, but to sit and watch this, unless it's your kid playing, you got to really love your team, you know. All right, guys. Appreciate all the support. I'll see you again right after the game.